Dear students, hope you are all well. So, today we will begin with a chapter in history. The name of the chapter is Vedic Civilization. And in this topic, we are going to cover the points the Vedic literature, family system, day to day life, agriculture, animal husbandry, economic and social life, religious ideas, and the political system. Let's move forward. So, now we will start with the first point, that is the Vedic literature. But before that, we will try to understand what is exactly Vedic civilization or Vedic culture. So, Vedic culture is based on Vedic scriptures called Vedas. Now, Veda comes from the word Vid. Okay? Vid means to know. Veda means knowledge, eternal knowledge, no beginning, no ending. Sanskrit was the language of the Vedic civilization. So, which was the language? Sanskrit. Okay, let's move forward. Now, what is the meaning of the word Veda? The word Veda originates from the Sanskrit word Vid, and the Sanskrit verb Vid means to know, or the word Veda literally means knowledge. So, Vedic civilization is what? It's all about the knowledge, we can say in general. Let's move forward. Now, what is given in our textbook about this? Okay, the Vedic civilization. The civilization that is based on Vedic literature is known as Vedic civilization. Very simple thing, okay? The civilization which is based on Vedic literature is called the Vedic civilization. The Vedas were composed by many sages or rishis, and some Vedic hymns, that means songs, Vedic hymns were composed by women also. Women also started. Okay, let's move forward. Now, Vedic literature, as I told you, is in Sanskrit. Vedic literature is very rich and diverse. So, this literature, the Vedic literature, is very rich and it's diverse. The Rig Veda is considered to be the first text. So, which is considered to be the first text or the first book? Rig Veda. There are four. Okay, there are four, but in that, the Rig Veda is considered as the first text. It is in the form of verses. It is in the form of different lines. Okay, verses. Let's move forward. And if we talk about the four Vedas, then there is Rig Veda, that is the first one, then Sam Veda, then Yajurva Veda, and lastly Atharva Veda. So you can see on the screen, the Vedas have been preserved through the oral tradition. So these Vedas were taught to people orally, okay, through the oral tradition. The Vedas are also called as Shruti. Now, Shruti is a Sanskrit word. These Vedas, these four Vedas were also called as Shruti in Sanskrit. Let's move forward. The next is parts of Vedas. Now in Rig Veda, in these all these Vedas, what all things are there in these books? What all things are there? Parts of Vedas. In Rig Veda, you can find praises of God. In this first book, that is Rig Veda, you will find praises of God. Then the next is in Samved, origin of music. How did the Indian music start? Then the next is Yajurva Veda, which is about Vedas of worship. That means how did they used to worship God at that time. And the next is Atharva Veda. Now in this Veda, there are various branches. There are different branches of science, Ayurveda, economics, and day-to-day life. There is also about Vedic maths. So in this last Veda, that is Atharva Veda, there are many branches. So each verse, so each line of the Veda is known as Richa. What it is known as? Richa. Richa is a Sanskrit word again. Okay. Let's move forward. And so the Veda consists of Richa is called Rig Veda. Okay. The Veda consists of Richas. Different lines is called as Rig Veda. Now you can see Vedic texts are known as Samhitya. Now Vedic text means books, are also known as Samhitya. Veda, as I told you, means to know, and Veda means knowledge. So, the Vedas have been preserved through the oral tradition. How they used to give knowledge to people? Orally. They by-hearted it. Okay, whatever that was there in the book, they by-hearted it. They learned. Then the teacher used to teach the people. That means at that time, how did they used to teach the people? They used to sit under a tree, and there are people. They used to teach them. Okay. Then the teacher used to teach the people. Then later, the people used to teach the future generations. Okay, like that they used to go on teaching. In this way, through oral tradition, the Vedas were preserved. That means orally these different types of Vedas were preserved. Vedas are also called as Shruti. Okay, Vedas are also called as Shruti. Let's move forward. Now the first Veda we are going to learn is Rig Veda Samhitya. Now each verse of the Veda is known as a Richa. As I told you in the before slide, each line of this Veda is called as a Richa in Sanskrit. So the Vedas consisting of Richas is called Rig Veda. So these Vedas consisting of different lines is called Rig Veda. Now, what is the meaning of Richa? Richa means a verse. Now, what's a verse? Verse is a group of lines which form a song. In a song, we have lines, right? So, a group of lines which form a song is called a verse. So, Richa means a verse composed to praise a deity. Now, who is a deity? A deity means God. Now, when a number of richas, that means when a number of verses or when a number of lines are put together to praise a particular deity. Praise means to pray to God. To praise a particular deity, the poetic composition is called a sukta. Another Sanskrit word, it's called as sukta. So the verses, richa, sukta, these are the words which you have to keep in mind. And these all are the words which come, they are all Sanskrit words. Okay, let's move forward. Now the next one is Yajurva Veda Samhitya. Now the Yajurva Veda contains mantras during Yajna. Okay. So the Yajurva Veda contains mantras during Yajna. Now what do you mean by mantras? Mantras means a word or a prayer that is sung. Okay. Now we have hymns, right? We have different hymns in different religions. So that is called as mantras. They are being sung during Yajna. Yajurva Veda provides guidance about how and when the different mantras must be chanted during Yajna rites. Now, what does Yajurva Veda provides us? How and when we need to sing those hymns. Okay, that it helps us to during when the different mantras must be chanted. Chanted means when the hymns must be sung during yajna rites, during worship. When we worship God, we sing different hymns, right? Yes. And this text includes the verses of poetic incantations. Incantations means series of words, lots of words together means incantation. So incantations means series of word and the explanation in prose. So here about the Yajurva Veda, which we have to keep in mind is all about the mantras, when it has to be sung, okay, during yagna rites, okay, during devotion. Let's move forward. Now the next one is the Samveda Samhitya. The Samveda provides guidance on singing. Okay, the Samveda, what it does, it provides guidance on singing. Rig Vedic verses to a set of rhythm and tune at the time of Yagna rites. Now, what is rhythm and tune? Now, when you sing a hymn or when you sing a song, it has to be in a rhythm, right? Sometimes it's high pitched, sometimes it's low pitch, and you also have to be in tune. Okay, so it should have rhythm and tune. The Samveda has contributed in a major way in laying the foundation of Indian music. So, what does the Samved has contributed in a major way, laying the foundation of the Indian music? So, when did this Indian music start? Very long back. That is in the Vedic period. Okay. So in Samved, we can find the information about music. So Samved is about when did this music, Indian music, start. Okay. Let's move forward. Then the next and the last one is the Atharva Veda Samhitya. Now the Atharva Veda, this name, that is the Atharva Veda, is named after a Atharva Rishi. His name was Atharva Rishi. So this Samhitya got the name as Atharva Veda Samhitya. So the Veda is different from the other three Vedas. Now this Veda, that is the Atharva Veda Samhitya, is different from the other three. Why? Because it is more concerned with many things in day-to-day life of the people. There are many things in this Veda. That is, first is the day-to-day life of the people. Then it includes solution to adversities and diseases. Now, adversities means when there's a difficult situation, when you are sick, okay? That is called as adversities. It also provides information about different medicinal herbs. So this Veda, that is the Atharva Veda, it also provides information about medicinal herbs, different medicinal herbs. Then the Atharva Veda also provides guidance to a king. Guidance to a king about what? About the way he should administer his kingdom. Administer means how he should take care of his kingdom. So other than that, all the three Vedas in the all the three Vedas, Atharva Veda is the Veda which is full of information. In this Veda, you will find lot of information or knowledge about many things. As we seen just now, there are day-to-day life, then there are solutions about various diseases, then it also provides information about medicinal herbs, and it also provides us how the king should administer his kingdom. So in this Veda, we find many things. Let's move forward. Now here you can see on the screen, through this, it's very easy to understand which Veda is about what. Okay. So Rig Veda, which is about, what did we learn about Rig Veda? Which is about the praise of deity. The praise of deity means how to praise God. Then next is Yajurva Veda, which contains mantras. Okay. Then Samveda, guidance on singing. How did the Indian music start, right, at that time? And the next is Atharva Veda, which is all about our day-to-day life. Let's move forward. And now the next point is family system, day-to-day life, okay, during the Vedic civilization or during the Vedic period. Very first and the important thing about the family system is that it was a joint family. Okay, during that time it was a joint family. Now the joint family system, okay, it was a joint family system. The Grihapati means the householder. Now, what was the Grihapati at? It was called as the householder or the head of the family. Okay, so Grihapati was called the head of the family or the householder, a man who was responsible for the family. Okay, a person who will take all the responsibilities of his family. So in this joint family, which all people were included? So his family included his old parents, wife and children, and also the families of the children, the younger brothers, and their families. Okay, so this family system was called as patriarchal. Patriarchal means controlled by the men. Okay, at that time, the families was mostly controlled by the men. In the initial period, that means before that, in the initial period, there are references to women scholars such as Lopamudra, Gargi, and Maitri in Vedic literature. But later on, slowly the restrictions were put on women. Now, what restrictions were put on women? It went on increasing. There were various restrictions. It went on increasing. And their position in the family or in the society became secondary. Secondary means second. Like they had no much right to talk in the family, or they had no much right to talk in front of the male members in the family. Okay. So women inferior to men stopped. That means from going to assemblies, they were stopped going. They were not allowed to go outside their house. Only serve the husbands. That means only take care of their husband, not to go outside the house. Take care of the family. That means take care of the children. Okay, and not allowed in any religious ceremonies also. So they were only allowed to stay home and take care of the house and take care of the families. Okay, let's move forward. Then about the houses. How were the houses in the Vedic civilization? So the houses during the Vedic period were earthen or wattle and daub construction. As you can see on the screen, yes, wattle means woven lattice of wooden strips. You can see the houses at that time, how they were. Wattle means woven lattice of wooden strips which is daubed with clay mixed with cow dung. So all these things were used at that time, how the houses were constructed. So a house at that time was called as griha or shala. Okay, let's move forward. Now what were the diet? What food they used to eat? Okay, the Vedic people. The diet of the people mainly consisted of cereals like wheat, barley, and rice. From this, they made different preparation. That means they made different dishes. The word yava means, which means barley. Gudhum means wheat. And vriha means rice. So they had different names, different pulses, different food items had different names. And the Vedic people or the Vedic period people relished milk, yogurt, ghee, butter, honey, black gram, lentils, sesame, and meat. So all these food items they used to eat were also a part of their diet. Okay, let's move forward. Then the people in the Vedic period used cotton and woolen garments. They used to mostly wear cotton and woolen clothes. They also used valkhals or clothes made from bark of trees. So they used to wear clothes made of different bark of trees. Similarly, they also used bark of trees. Also, they used animal skins were also used for clothing. Men and women used ornaments of gold, flower garlands, string made of beads, etc. Okay, so they both men and women used to wear garments. They used to wear gold. Okay, not only women, both men and women used to wear gold. So a kind of pendant called Nishka seemed to have been very popular. Now this kind of pendant was also used in the form of currency. That means when they had to buy anything, they used to give that type of pendant, that pendant to the people, and then they used to buy different things whichever they needed. Okay, let's move forward. Now the next is Vedic musical instruments. There were the Vedic period they were mostly famous for singing, playing musical instruments like dance. Then they used to play board games also, chariot race, and hunting were the means of recreation. Now, the main musical instruments were, as you can see in the slide, that is veena, shantantu, cymbals, percussion instruments like damru were also used. So these were the musical instruments which the Vedic people used to use for their entertainment. Okay, let's move forward. Now, the next point is agriculture, animal husbandry, economic, and social life. In the first thing, agriculture, as we know, was the main occupation during the Vedic period. Agriculture was the main occupation. Many oxen were yoked together to plow the fields. You know, now animals were used to plow the fields. Now we have tractors, we have other different things to plow the fields, but before they used to take help of the animals. So many oxen were yoked together to plow the field, and the plow had iron plowshares. Okay, they had underneath their leg, they had iron plowshares. The Atharva Veda considers insects, pests, and other animals that destroy crops and suggests certain remedies. Now, when you grow a crop in the between of a leaf, you see small holes. Now, what are those? They are very different types of insects and pests which destroy the crops. Then we put some medicine, then they go away. Okay, so there are certain remedies. So the information about agriculture was there in the Atharva Veda. Cow dung was used as manure during that time. Let's move forward. Now, during the Vedic period, animals like horses, cows, and dogs had special importance. During the Vedic period, these animals, cows, horses, and dogs, had special importance. And behind that, there were special reasons. Now, why these animals had special importance? There were some reasons. We will see that. Okay, cows were used as means of exchange. Okay, means of exchange means means of money. And that is why cows were highly prized. During the Vedic period, cows were highly prized. To buy a cow, you had to pay a lot. Okay, people took special care to ensure that their cows would not be stolen. So they took extra care. Why? Because the cows were high rated. So they took extra care that the people who had cows, other people should not steal those cows. Okay. So the important animal was cow during the Vedic period. The horse. Now the next animal is the horse. Was valued. Why was horse valued? Because of its speed. Now in a chariot race, what you need? You need a horse, an animal who runs fast. So as you know, horse has lots of speed. He runs very fast. Here you can see the image. You can see an image now of a horse, a chariot race, that is. Here you can see in the image, and in this period, apart from agriculture and animal husbandry, several other occupations have also flourished in the village or the village system. Let's move forward. And if you talk about the social life during this period, there were four varnas. Okay, there were four varnas: Brahmin, Shastriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. These were the four varnas. Now, what do you mean by varna? A varna was determined by the occupation of the people. Okay, by the occupation of the people, what occupation they had. So, a varna means a class of the people. And in the later period, they came to be determined on the different occupation. Now, how occupation means, if a person is working a bit of high rank, so it depends on that. They were called in that varna. So now can you see in your slide, there is Brahman, Shastriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and the last one is Dalit. So Brahman are people of highest rank, then Shastriya are second highest, then Vaishya is the third highest, and Shudra is the lowest rank. Okay, so it depends on the occupation. And this gave rise to caste also. Now the caste system led to inequality. What happened? Inequality in the society. All were not treated equally. And today also we can see the caste discrimination yet exists. You can see, right, in our society or in our city, we can even see that there is caste discrimination which yet exists. Okay, let's move forward. Now, during the Vedic period, certain notions means belief about something, about leading an ideal life, had become well established, and the notions were of four stages. As you can see in your screen, they were of four stages, or you can say as four ashramas. That is from birth to death. Okay, that is from birth to death. The first one is the Brahmacharya Ashrama, or the period of staying with the Guru. Now, in this first stage, that is the Brahmacharya Ashrama, what was the period of staying with the Guru? That means staying with your teacher to learn from him. Can you see in the first? You can see that is from the age of 1 year to 25 years approximately. You have to stay with your Guru and learn from him. Then the second one is Grihastha Ashrama. It was expected that during this period, a man would carry out his duties towards his family. So, what is the age of that? From 26 to 50 years. So, what was that stage about? That during this period, a man would carry out his duties towards the family and the society with the help of his wife. So he had to take care of his family as well as society in this stage. And the third stage was Vanhaprastha Ashrama. Now, in this stage, it was when a man was expected to detach himself, that means to leave from the household, that means leave his family and retire to a solitary place. Retire to a solitary place means to an unknown place he had to live. He had to not live with his family, he had to live to an unknown place and lead a simple life, and he had to live in a simple life. Okay, and the fourth stage is sannyas ashrama. Now at this stage, the convention was to renounce all relations. That means he had to leave all the relations, lead life in order to understand the meaning of human life. Okay, he had to leave everything. He had to leave his family and to understand the meaning of human life, and not to stay in one place. Not to He had to not to stay in one place, and that age was 76 years onwards. Now this phase was giving up material desires and prejudice, wandering aesthetic stage. That means he had to leave everything and he had to lead a simple human life. Let's move forward. Now, the next is religious ideas. Now, in the religious ideas of the Vedic period, forces of natures such as the sun, wind, rain, lightning, storms, and rivers were given the form of deities. So, at that time, at that period, all these forces of natures that people used to praise in the form of deity. Vedic compositions pray them to become life-giving forces. The Vedic period put offerings into the yajna fire. Offerings means when we offer something to God, we offer flowers, we offer fruits, we give different offerings. So what did this Vedic period put? Offerings into the yajna fire. As you can see in the picture, they put all the offerings into that fire to please them, and these offerings were called as Havi. Okay, these different offerings were called as Havi. Yagnya is the act of offering Havi into the fire. Now, initially, the Yagnya rites were simple. That means before, the Yagnya rites were simple. But later on, the rules of Yagnya became harder and harder. That means they kept on changing the rules, so it became difficult. The importance of priest went on increasing because of all these things. Now, who are priest? A priest is a person of different religion who gives you sermon or tell about religion. Okay, that person is called as priest. Let's move forward. Now the next is the political system. Now in Vedic period, each village had a head known as Gramani. What they were called as Gramani. A group of villages form a Vish. Vish means a member whose head was called as Vishpati. What he was called? He was called as Vishpati. So several Vish, okay, several members from the village formed a Jana. They formed a Jana. And later, when the Jana settled into a specific region, it came to be known as Janpad. Okay, it was later called as Janpad. The head of the Jana was known. The head of the Jana was known as Nirpa or Raja, or you can call as king. So they were called with different names like Nirpa, Raja, or king. Now the main duties of the king. What was the main duty of a king? He had to protect the people. He had to protect all the people from his village, collect taxes, and run the administration efficiently, smoothly. Okay, he had what he had to do. He had to protect the people, collect taxes, and run the administration or run his kingdom efficiently and smoothly. And for this, in order to run the administration smoothly, the king appointed various officers. That means the king appointed different officers. That is the Purhohit. Can you see it? Circle. Purhohit or the priest and the Senapati of the army were the officers of the great importance. So who did the king appoint? The Purhohit, the priest, and the Senapati. Then the officers who collect taxes, okay, or the person who collected the king's share of Chana was called as Bhagdut. They were called as Bhagdut. Okay, so this was how the Vedic civilization or the day-to-day life of the people of the Vedic civilization. This was the life of the Vedic civilization. Let's move forward. That is your homework. The first question is the civilization that is based in Vedic literature is known as dash civilization. The next one is in the Vedic period, each people had a head known as dash. And the second last one is what was the main occupation during the Vedic period. And the last one is name the Veda that is considered to be the first text. That's all for now. Your chapter ends over here. We will learn the next chapter in the next video. Thank you for listening, children. Goodbye. Take care.